Hey guys, Chris from Phase Fun Creations. Got a whole new thing going today. I'm going to try the bloom thing again with a mold that I'd forgotten that I'd bought and I've never used. This one I got from Pouring Your Heart Out, Julie. I can't wait to see the finished products out of this if you're watching. And I've got my metallic alcohol inks here. And whoops, I didn't even show you those, did I? Metallic alcohol ink. Again, these are Marabou. Got them off at Temu. So we're going to give them a try. I did a little swatch test, and that's what they look like. So I think I'm going in with my orange and purple again, just to see what happens. And here I mixed up some of my black resin. Again, I got it off of Temu because I can't necessarily afford Let's Resin stuff too much. At least not yet. So it is a 1-to-1 by volume, not by weight. So I did about an ounce of my black resin, and I mixed in some of my pigment paste for my chameleon paste, also from, this one's from Resin Art. So I think I got that one off of Amazon. And it's starting to get a little warm, but it's not quite thick enough yet. But I wanted to get that real pretty shimmer with the resin paste. So I've also got my puffy hearts. Thanks again, Julie. Also, Pouring Your Heart Out, Julie, is phenomenal. So I think the yellow or the orange and the purple, we're going to try that again. And we'll set these off to the side. And again, these are, oops, sorry. I think it's pronounced Marabou, I don't know. They're actually very pretty colors, as you saw in the swatches. So we'll give these a good shake. And I'll be right back. Okay, so word to the wise, if you get these and you open them, instead of shaking them with the lids on, you might want to do it with your finger over the end. I have made a horrendous mess everywhere. Alright, so here is, that one made a mess as well. Pop the lid off and it's all over the place. So always, if you can think of it, kind of make sure you stick your finger over the tip instead of just shaking it with the lid one. Alright, so now we got those cleaned up a little bit. I have already mixed up my Let's Resin brand resin. Give me 1 second. I need to open up another pack of wipes. I did about 4 ounces of my Let's Resin 1-to-1. Same one I've been using in the last few videos. And we're going to try the bloom again. Move some stuff around here real quick. Now, I've never used the metallic ink or the alcohol inks yet, so this is going to be new to me. And we're also going to be using our puffy hearts. So, without further ado, I'm going to just kind of cover the bottom of my mold, because it's not very deep, so I shouldn't need a whole lot of resin in here. And again, do not scrape the bottoms too hard. You do not want to mess up your molds, and especially not really good quality molds like the ones I've been getting off of Julie. These things are fantastic. I have one set of the 4 puffy hearts, and I've had them for goodness, 3 or 4 years. And they're just now starting to be more of a matte finish instead of super glossy. But I have made a lot of puffy heart pendants, key rings, etc. So that being said, trying to clean up my alcohol inks a little bit more before we use them. And it gives my resin a chance to just kind of do what it needs to do. And I'm trying to get it just a little less than half, because I don't want a whole lot. If possible, I would like to do a top coat like I did with the last ones, which were the holographic molds that I used. And as much as I enjoyed using those, it was very difficult to see how the colors were doing, if they were blooming, if they were spreading out the way I wanted them to. So, with that being said, I am just going to go ahead and use this beautiful mold from Julie Cut at Pouring Your Heart Out from Queensland, Australia. I absolutely love her molds. They're the best quality I think I've ever used. I'm just kind of waiting for my black to warm up a little bit more. It's starting to get warm. Okay. I don't remember what the work time is on this one, but with the paste and everything in there, I'm sure it's not real long. Ironically, it does not actually give me a time frame on here. Well, interesting. Okay, so enough of that. I think we're going to do this a little backwards this time. I want to do purple in the middle and do orange on the outside, and then we'll do our black. At least that's the plan. All right, so here we go. And it's very, very thin alcohol inks. So again, like I said, they are metallic. And I'm just kind of curious how these are going to turn out with a bloom. Okay, we'll start with 4. Probably should have done 5. Oh, need to shake that one up a little bit first. Oh, that's going to be pretty. All right, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go ahead and do 5 more. Yeah, we'll do a couple. All right. And we'll do a couple more purple in between all the oranges. And then I will do an orange between the purple. All right. I think that's all I want to do there. Put my caps back on. Set those off to the side. So, had to stop and think of what I wanted to do here, guys. I'm sorry. Give it another good stir. And just like last time, I am just going to kind of go in. Yeah. We'll just kind of go through. I know I have made, once again, way too much. However, I think this time, with all the colors that are here, when I go to, that one's a little thick, pull my colors through, I think these are really going to turn out pretty. Because like I said, I can actually see what I'm doing a little better. And I probably should have waited and let those colors do what they wanted to do a little bit longer. But that's okay. I am not as well versed in doing these petals as Julie or who else does these things? Claire, I think, from Claire's Creations. I'm not sure whoever else does these, but I'm learning. This is like my second or third attempt. And I am just having fun with it. I was like super excited with the coasters that I made yesterday. They turned out so much better than I thought. But the only thing I did not like about it was with the holographic areas, it was just very difficult to really tell that the bloom was there. And that is basically why I decided to do this one here today. I wanted to try out this really nice mold that Julie did. And I've had nothing but success using her other molds that I've bought. Trying to get as much, definitely made way too much resin for this. And I'm definitely going to have to go through with my skewer, or what do you want to call it, and pull some of these out because they are kind of blobby, or whatever you want to call them. I can't wait to find out exactly what this is going to turn out as. This is going to be so pretty. At least I hope so. Oops. It's not supposed to touch the mold. Oh well. So I want to set that off to the side. And I'm going to run my stick kind of through there. Just kind of give it some direction and where I want it to kind of go. Otherwise, it's going to sink through the bottom, and I really don't want it to sink down through. It's already looking really pretty, guys. And I'm not, again, I am not touching the bottom of my mold. Do not want to mess it up. Do not want to ruin it. All right, now I am going to let that set for a couple minutes and work on my puffy hearts. And as always, I am almost positive I have way too much resin. But I'm going to fill these about half. On each one. Each of these holds roughly about an ounce, or excuse me, a quarter ounce. I believe it is, a quarter to a half. So, all right, there's that. Set that off to the side for a couple minutes. I don't believe it. I actually got it roughly the amount that I wanted. Okay, so with these, I think what I would like to do is all right, just bear with me for a minute, guys. All right, I just grabbed 4 random regular alcohol colors. Oops. Here we go. My chair bumped it. Give them a quick shake. I've got cheapy stuff. I got lemon yellow, regular blue, purple, and fuchsia. And I'm basically going to do the same thing in my puffy hearts just to see how they turn out. Clean off that stick for the next time. And I think, whoops. Sorry about my arm being in the way. And again, I'm just making a mess. Oh, goodness. Okay. We'll deal with that in a minute. Just set that up there. All right, so start up here at the top. We'll do 1, 2, 3. I think I'm only going to use 3 of these. Man, they stink. It is 80s pink. That's what that is. Okay. What do you just use that for? Do 6 drops of yellow, and then we'll just finish them off with purple. 2, 3, 2, and 3. Those spread really nice. All right, I'm going to set those over there. Alright, so before I do anything else, we are going to go ahead and start from the middle and pull this through as close to the middle as I can. And then pull them in from these corners here. And I'm just kind of go and do my little swirly swirl. And that's all we're going to do with that one. And guys, it's already starting to bloom. Even the metallics are blooming. It's beautiful. All right. Make sure I don't fall out of my chair. And I'm actually going to have to find a small mold. So, bear with me for just a second and we'll break out. We'll just do another snail. And we'll do the little squishies. Alright, so this is our clear. I have to have more than one. Alright, trying to make sure, because the last one did not have the little antler things. Trying to make sure that I squish the resin and actually get it up into those little cavities this time. And I don't know if it's going to work. Gently put my little skewer down in there. Try to chase those air bubbles out the best that I can. There's one that just does not want to leave. Alright, I think we got him. I can't wait to see that one. That's kind of neat. Alright, and since I'm not going to need a whole lot of this one here, now we want to start to get thick and really I'll pour some of that in the bottom of our snail, because I'm not going to need a whole lot for what I want to use it for. And use the rest of my clear and finish that snail off. Okay. And we're just going to get the rest of our resin out of this one for the clear, because it's going in the snail along with some of our chameleon black resin. Now, I didn't know if mixing the black resin with the Let's Resin brand was going to do a whole lot of good. But I think that might actually turn out really well, but we'll have to wait and see. It's definitely got petals, so it's a step in the right direction. All right, now I gotta spray my silicone cup and get it cleaned up real quick, and then we'll work on those puffy hearts. Oops, I'm dropping everything again. Make sure we're still recording. Okay. All right, we'll just set that back there to dry. All right. And real quick, try and direct some of that darker color into these snail antler, horn, whatever you want to call them. Eyes, maybe? I don't know. All right, now it's not quite full, but I'm going to set that one back there. Clean off my stick. All right. And we're just going to kind of do like a little swirly swirl design on the pink ones. All right. Let me just do some random designs on these, because we're just going to pull it all through anyway. It's really good and thick now. Guys, tell me, what do you think? How do you think these are going to turn out? So we use the rest, almost as much as we can in our snail. And we'll just let it do its own thing. All right. There's that. So now what I want to do is kind of do a very similar design. Whoops, making a mess again. And see what we can figure out on how this will work or not. This way, this way, this way, and this way. And then pull in, pull in, pull in, pull in. And a little swirl in the middle. So let's do it different this time. We'll do the pull ins first. And then pull out here, and here, here, and here. Swirl them in the middle. Guys, this is so pretty already. I just hope these puffy hearts turn out really well. Alright, so in from the top, in from the bottom, in from the left or right, in from the left, out to the top, out to the side, out to the side, out to the top, and swirl. And that's all I'm going to do for the rest of these. We're just going to kind of vary how we're doing it. And I hope that they kind of turn out into some kind of a flower. Yellow one? Not so sure. Don't really have a lot of the black. But we'll see what happens. Of course, it's already getting really thick, so might have played around with it just a little too long. You know what, we'll just make some other petals here. see what these look like with it. Alright, so out, 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 and out, and up, and over, and down, and up, and little swirl. All right, so that is finished for today. Ooh, didn't need this one after all. Don't know how these are going to turn out, but let me bring it down and look at the other. Give 1 second to get my gloves off. Oh, goodness. Sorry about my hands on the way. I'm using my tablet, so I've kind of got to tie everything up over here. Hopefully y'all can look at that and see just how pretty that's already looking. And I think I'm going to do a white background on this one. And then here is the puffy hearts. Don't know what they're going to do, but we'll see what happens. Alright guys, again, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And come back and we'll do part 2 on this one. And we'll see how they turn out later. See y'all on the flip side. Bye. Hey guys, same day, same projects. It is later that evening. These I'm not too fond of so far. However, I am in love with my bloom over here. So with that being said, and they're still really bendy, so I can't take them out yet. However, I'm going to do about 8 ounces. I figure I'll need at least 3, maybe 3. Maybe 3. And then I'm going to do a combination pour and finish up my autumn piece from earlier today. And I don't know if you all can see this really well or not, but these colors where I just kind of splashed them, I tossed them on, you know, whatever, those are so pretty. I think that's going to be beautiful. So I'm thinking about doing maybe a blue background on that. Not 100% sure just yet, but I will figure that out after I get these done. I'm going to be doing, like I said, 8 ounces in our big cup. I'm actually going to be using a white Sea Wave pigment. I can't remember if I got that off Amazon or somewhere else, but, and then I'm going to go in with my Interference Blue Ghost. I've not used it yet. I can't wait to see what it turns out mixed in with our pigment paste, excuse me. So with that being said, I'm going to put y'all on pause, mix up my resin, and then we'll get this party started. All right, be right back. Okay, so we got our resin poured. And we're just going to stir it up for a couple minutes. And again, I'm going in with my Let's Resin brand. I have noticed, and I don't know if I'm not stirring it enough. I'm stirring anywhere from 3.5, 4.5 minutes. And it just seems like it's still really, really flexible. Of course, my craft room has been particularly warm. So, we'll see what happens with all of that. But anyway, I've got about 3 minutes left, and I will be back in just a moment. Alright, so we got our resin mixed up, and it's pretty much ready to go. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to try and pour about half into this little cup, more or less. Might not even need that much, to be honest, but we'll go with it. And I can always add a different color to this if I don't use it all, because this is just going to be a white with the paste and the oh man, I might get this open. Okay, well, we're not going to be using that. All right, so what are we going to use? That kind of kicked it in the tail end. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so all I want to do is I'm just going to use my interference. Ooh, well, that ought to do it. Didn't mean for it to come out that much. So this is, again, this is the Blue Ghost by Let's Resin. And I need a stir stick. And I'm hoping that this will be plenty for our bloom. It's probably, I'm hoping it'll actually be a little too much. All right. Look how pretty that is, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with these interference. Oh, that is so pretty. Look at that. Just trying to get everything off the sides. And got a feeling this could be way more than enough. Alright, so we'll pour the biggest one first. Actually, I'm just going to put just a tiny little spritz of alcohol down in there to help dissolve any of the over abundant pieces and clumps. Oh, that's better. Look how pretty that is. Again, I think this was the Blue Ghost, if anyone is wondering. Alright, so we're just going to pour. And I have a feeling I may have made a bit too much. But you know what? That's okay. Now, since the resin is still fairly soft in here, I am trying to not add too much. But I do want to try and see if I can get it to dome a little bit. Not get my head in the way either. Oops. Because I know there is a hair on that. Pretty sure. Yep, there it is. All right. Got it. I just pour a tiny bit more in there. Whoa. All right, we'll let that settle for a minute. And we'll pour the rest of this into our puffy hearts. And we'll just start over here with the pink. The yellow one won't need a whole lot at all. Once I added that yellow alcohol ink, it kind of did its own thing and took over most of the pendant area. Ooh, hopefully I'm not adding too much into these guys. Couple of them might be able to use a little bit more, but we'll see. Whew. Just sliding things around here tonight. All right, I think that one's going to be enough. I'll add a little bit more to this one. A little bit more to that one. Like I said, I do want to try and dome these, but I've not really been all that successful in the past. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll understand that. But I'm going to give it another shot. Okay, let's see here. This one can use just a little bit more. And this one. Okay, and I think that's going to call it quits for that. So we're just going to put the rest of that back into this big cup. And I think I am going to probably, let's see, it's autumn. Shoot. I'm not sure what color I want, guys. Hadn't got past this part. All right, so I'm done with that. Now, wipe off that stick. And we'll go from there. All right, everybody looks good so far. All right, so we'll bring this up a little bit more. And I think I'd like to find a blue color shifting for the background, but I don't know that I have a color shifting blue. Maybe a green. Well, I don't even know where in the world to look for them now. I have a sapphire blue. That's not quite fall enough. Dark purple. What is this one? It's Lagoon blue. Persian green. We'll try that one. All right. Just won't add a whole lot. I don't want this to overpower the plants and stuff in that back piece. All right. So again, this is my Let's Resin mica powder in Persian green. It's really pretty. It's supposed to be a color shift powder. But we'll see what happens. Whoop. I guess we'll start with that bit. That will probably be way too much for this piece as far as the amount of resin. But we'll figure it out, like always, right? Alright, those puffy hearts look pretty good. Does not look like they're going to try and go over the outside barrier. Oh, that looks good with that other powder in there. It's just enough. Actually, I might add just a little bit more of both. Because that's still really, really thin. I want just a little bit more color than that. All right. What did I tell you that was? That was the ghost blue, right? Okay, it should be this one. That's violet. Blue ghost. All right. So we're going to add a little bit more of our Persian green. Maybe. Actually, you know what? We'll use this. I know I said I didn't want a whole lot on there, but I'm looking at it now, and that is so pretty. I think that's going to be the perfect background for the piece back there on the back side. And then a little bit more of our blue ghost. So I think those are going to look really pretty together. And we're going to just kind of spritz with a little bit of alcohol. Keep it from flying around. See the two different colors there. Normally if it flies around it doesn't bother me too much. But as you can see, oh, that's dried. Okay, we're good. Anyway, those two are so pretty together. Oh my gosh. I am in love. I love shades of green and blue anyway. And this is just unreal. It's already starting to get warm too. So I don't know about what's going on with that, unless it's because this room has been so warm the last few days. For those of you over like in the UK or whatever, I know it's getting ready to be your summertime. September is usually our, well, the other day started the first day of fall. And our afternoon temperatures right now, which is really odd, are kind of right around between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. To be honest, I'm not sure what the calculations on that would be. However, I think even you all would agree that it's pretty stinking hot. Alright, so we're just going to pour this on. And I think that's going to be really pretty overall. Kind of like the sky background. Try to cover those plants, or the little flowers anyway. It may or may, oh, look at that. It's actually not quite enough to fill it to the edge. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it because it got most of it. And I think it'll be all right. Get as much scraped off the sides as we can. And we'll call it done for the night. Alright, all gone, all done. Alright guys, I suppose we will try to unmold these tomorrow morning. Okay, I thought that was a hair, but it's not. I have a golden doodle, but the only thing golden about him is his muzzle. It's kind of an auburn color. So we have black hair all over the house. So that's probably why I keep finding black hairs in my resin. Alright guys, other than some cleanup, that's all I have for you for this evening. I'm really happy so far with how these pieces have turned out. And I cannot wait. I'm hoping that come morning that they'll be cured enough to be able to take those out of the molds and really get a good look at them. So I appreciate y'all watching. I look forward to unmolding these for you guys tomorrow. And I got a couple other pieces that I can show you real quick before we go. It's actually almost giving ocean vibes over there, isn't it? So I did, you all saw me fill this up earlier. Look how beautiful this is. I think this is one of my favorite spooky season pieces that I've ever done. So go to my Facebook page and you can look this up. Like I said, this is a glow-in-the-dark purple. Let me show you, see if I can get it to do anything spectacular here. Give me 1 second. It's not real bright, but it does glow. Alright guys, so with that being said, that piece will be for sale on my Facebook. Again, that's Phase Fun Creations on Facebook. If you don't see my videos, or you know someone who doesn't have a YouTube access and they are on Facebook, I don't know how that would work. But if you know somebody who might be interested in purchasing something, please let me know. Also, tomorrow we'll be unmolding this piece. It's still just a little too soft. And I cannot wait to see how that looks out of the mold. I'm excited about that one. So we have a big morning tomorrow. And I'm so thankful that I get to share it with you guys. I'm really excited about this piece here. I think that's going to be a lot better than the others that I did. Simply because this one's going to be more translucent on the back side of it. But I think it's not going to have the holographic design on the front of it either, which is what I think took away from some of how spectacular those other coasters were. So, all right, guys. It is about almost 10 o'clock here in Philippi, West Virginia. Good grief. So, be safe, be happy, stay warm if you're cold, stay cool if you're warm, and I hope all your crafts come out amazing. So, guys, I will see you all on the flip side. Bye for now. Hey, guys. It's Chris from Phase Fun Creations. So, we've got a few things to unmold. And I am super excited about sharing this with you. We're going to save this one for last, because I have a feeling that is going to be amazing. So we're going to start with our little seashell. I guess you call it a trinket box, trinket tray. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not even sure. I've never used this mold, so I'm not 100% sure how. Okay, there we go. Little bit of overfill. Ooh, look at that. Good as new. Everything came out really pretty. Alright, I actually used a little bit of sand in this off camera. And I used just a little overflow one here. Easy enough to clean up. But you can see where the sand kind of came down in some of these areas. But look how beautiful this is. Oh my gosh, I've never done one of these before. And I do not feel a single air bubble anywhere, guys. Not one. That is so cool. Look at this. Look how it poured in right here. Like, there is not a single physically, like, no air bubbles. That is so freaking pretty. Anyway, I used some of the Let's Resin Lagoon Blue right here. The mica powder. And this is the Let's Resin brand resin. And I absolutely love that. That is so perfect. Alright, moving on. Let's start with these. These have been, they were a little bit bendy this morning, so I waited a few hours to be sure that I wasn't going to pop out the bevels or anything, or break them or stretch them or whatever. So, I'm just going to kind of pop them all out, and we're not going to look at them just yet, because I want to share them all with everybody. I don't know how these are going to look. It's interesting to see. I've got some spots there that need to be sanded down a little bit or trimmed up, whatever. Now I have a little bit of cleanup. That pink, I don't know what I did there. Anyway, got a little bit of cleanup to do. We'll set that off to the side. So I'm going to try to not bump my camera too hard, so bear with me for just a moment. Alright, I'm going to lower this down a little bit. Alright. Well, that's different. I'm not too big on the black, but I don't hate that. That will make a really neat key ring, or let's see, I'm gonna have to go over some of that, and it's kind of a matte finish on there. This is only like the third time I've used this one. Can you all see how that's lit in there? And all I gotta do is rub some UV resin over that little spot. It'll be good as new. Can you see? I don't know if y'all can see that little black spot or not. Right there it is. Right there. I know that light kind of puts it really odd. It's really cool how that turned out. Oh, that's neat. Look. You can't even see that black spot until you turn it over. If you look really close, it has that blue, just a little bit of a blue shimmer in there. That's actually really pretty. A little bit more overflow. Look at that. I like this one. So far, this one's my favorite. Sorry about the ring light, guys. Oh, that one's really pretty. Almost looks like it's a rose center. It's like curled up, almost like the middle of cinnamon roll. That's what it reminds me of. Alright. Oh, that's cool. Wow. Look at that. That is so cool. Looks like a little spoon in there. These will make for some, look, you can actually see like a gold where it mixed in on some of the black blue. I'll make some really awesome key rings with these. That one's kind of neat. Oh, wow, guys, look at that. That black, really, like that blue-black. That's kind of crazy. Look at that. So I like this one and this one, or wait. I like that one. And that one's kind of cool. These are okay, but I think so far these three are my favorite. Until this one. Guys, look at this. Now, these were not my metallic. These were just those cheapo alcohol inks. These are not my metallic alcohols. Look at that. That is so amazing. That actually turned out better than I expected. Alright, so we'll move these out of the way. And I can either make pendants with these, or I can do key rings. There's all kinds of neat stuff I can do with those. If anyone wants to place an order, I can send one of those to you as a gift, even. All right, so this one is still, it's mildly bendy. This was our trinket tray with the glass, with the sea glass and the rim. So let's see how this one turned out. I have not looked at it. I do know that some of it kind of floated around in regards to some of the leaves, because I could see it when I poured this piece. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. Look at the powder. It's like whooshed up, like the breeze came up from behind it. Some of these leaves look like they've been cushioned. Kind of like they're pushed into maybe some velvet. These flowers did the right touch. I'm really glad I did those. Man, that's beautiful. Look, this one kind of looks like it's been stuck down in a velvet cloth. That is so pretty. All right, we'll set that off to the side. Now for the piece that we've all been waiting on, and that is her bloom. Now, just as a reminder, we used Marabou orange and purple metallic pigment, or excuse me, metallic alcohol inks. And I used Gentian black epoxy mixed with my, I believe it was my blue pigment, or excuse me, my chameleon pigment paste. Pretty sure it was this one. And then this was our Let's Resin Blue Ghost or interference powder, I believe. And the resin was by Let's Resin. So put these away. I am so excited about this piece. Like, just cannot wait to see how this one turned out. Tell you what, hold on one second. Just as a reminder, we did these the other day. And as pretty as these are, it's difficult to really see the blooms or the center because of the holographics. But they are really pretty. So let's find out, whoops, if this one turned out the way I was hoping it would turn out. Whew. All right, guys. Like that little starfish kind of thing in the middle. Are you ready? I'm so nervous. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. Whoa. That is so cool. You can see the orange. It kind of faded to yellow. Did I use yellow? I don't remember using yellow. And you can actually see the purple in the center. Hopefully y'all can see the purple. That is so cool because it just, wow. That is just so awesome. Might have went a little heavy with the paste on this. Or it set a little too long. Look at the tips of those. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Well, now that I know I can do it with the black, we're going to start trying for some more. And there's couple tiny little micro bubbles on the edges. We got one right here. And we got one right there. Yep, there's a little tiny one. Guys, let me know what you think. This is like my 3rd or 4th time to ever try a bloom. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Like I said, these were the orange, which bled out into the real pretty yellow feathered edge. And then you can kind of see some of the purple. And then it looks like it's almost a red instead of an orange in these spots. But you can see the purple right in the middle. And you see that blue-black shimmer, excuse me. Oh my gosh. That is just so, what? I don't know if y'all can look at this. It just kind of, that's crazy. All right, guys, that's all I have for you for today. Beautiful blooms. Finally got it. This is amazing. I want to thank some of the people that I follow. Glitz and Glitter, Michelle, you are awesome. Julie Cut from Pouring Your Heart Out. Daniel Cooper, you all, you rock. There's too many of you all. Marva from Marvelous Artsy, I think it is. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. Guys, thank you for your inspiring videos, because without that, I don't know that I could have ever finally gotten to the point to do something that awesome. So thank you guys for sharing all your videos, and I just know that there are people like myself just starting just a few years into this who probably never would have even attempted blooms or anything else if it hadn't been for your videos. Things like this beautiful conch shell. I was always terrified of using shells and sand, but that turned out so pretty. So for those of you out there that I didn't mention, y'all are amazing. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Bye for now.